Hello, folks. Let's jump right in. I suppose she wasn't completely on her own. She had her powers. She had her power behind her. Power or powers? She had her powers behind her. She was like a much weaker version of Dominique Vert. Naturally, she couldn't do things. She couldn't do things like travel through time or raise the dead or any of the other abilities or teleport. Of course, she lacked Nami's most famous abilities, such as flight, teleportation, time travel, and raising the dead. Even with the Tinos mask. Is that how you spell Tinos? Alright, where's my drink? Yep. Let's see. Tinos, even with the Tinos mask on, amplifying, it was still quite far from Adami's power. Adami with 100th. Nah, no need to elaborate on that. Adami's power. Well, they didn't have put on the Tinos mask as she walked the streets. It was a bit menacing, looking like something that some high priest in ancient South Zeta I'd wear at temple at the top of the stairs as he a stone temple the stairs as he sacrifices people, men to the sun, virgins to the sun. Pretty horrifying, wasn't it? All that stuff. Glad that we eventually got over human sacrifice. Most of us, anyway. Let's see. The stone temple at the top of the stairs. He sacrificed virgins to the sun. The mask was metal, not stone. Well, not stone. It was largely featureless. Let's see, Tinos. Let's see, Tinos for features, like open for your eyes and mouth. Red metal. No, it was red metal, not stone, and was mostly featureless besides small holes for the eyes. Well, I thought she looked like a fiend. Carving. There was some ancient writing carved on the top. The mask amplified Law's power, making it stronger. It also helped her recharge her reserve of power faster, but not by much. If she burned up all her fuel, It would take a good day for it to be restored fully. Well, they want to scare civilians. Scaring trigger-happy civilians by wearing the mask. People ain't like masked people. Most cultures in the world, a person was supposed to display their face. Someone who hides their face. They probably have secrets. Dirty secrets. Well, suppose she had a few of those. But then everybody. A secret or two. The will. A person without secrets wasn't a person. Well, initially took her rifle. Let's see, with her. The servants at the didn't have her rifle with her. The servants at the mansion at Kajanlina's mansion had confiscated from her before they put her under house arrest, and she had forgotten about it before heading out. She thought they would toss the weapon to her out a window after they barricaded the window she stepped out of. Did I say it was the ground floor window? Well, it was. Well, doubt she'd be out of a gun for long. Well, doubt she'd be without a weapon for long. She headed over to that street where the bandits had fought the cops and then the civilian militia. Those bandits who laid mortally wounded earlier had all crossed on. What's the word? Crossed on. That seems such a strange phrase to me. Crossed over. Yeah, maybe that's because it was the wrong phrase. It's crossed over. No action sequences today, I think, folks, unless we count gruesome beatings as being action scenes. Frickin' UPS trucks again, you know, constant, endless. I never see the UPS come to any other building but our street. I mean, but my building on our street. It's weird. It's like nobody else uses Amazon or anything. Perhaps like mortally wounded or hell crossed over. Not that it mattered. Well, would have ignored them. Ignored them like a greedy man ignores beggars. She had no pity for these bandits who probably committed many terrible acts. She couldn't have healed them with her powers. She couldn't have healed them with her powers. Maybe Dominique, if she was here, present, would have walked among the wounded walked among wounded on both sides to treat them back to full health. Or maybe not. That may seem a bit inconsistent to Willow. But she supposed it was like how Jubilee in the Bible. Is Bible cap in this story? I guess the Bible is capitalized depending on who's saying it. I'm sure a priest would capitalize the Bible if he wrote a story. And there's that old rule where you when you talk of God, you're supposed to use He in capital at all times. I think that's a special rule just for God, His holiness and such. Let's see. You suppose it was like how Jubilee in the Bible didn't heal every sick person and raise every corpse that crossed her path. Across their path. Of course, maybe she did. Well, then, no. Wasn't around back then. Maybe it did. A large chunk of Jubilee's life wasn't accounted in the Bible. One page she was a baby, and the next she was a grown woman. Yeah. I get that from our Bible. I hear there's not much in our Bible about Jesus' life from when he was born to when he was a grown man, which is, interesting. I'm sure it's something that a lot of people like to speculate about, the childhood of Jesus. All the wacky adventures he got involved in. Let's see. That's how I would have written it if I came up with Jesus. Would have definitely had some stories from his childhood, at least one or two, That's one way to develop a character. Gets you to spend a lot of time with them, It really gets you to, cement their whole, cement what they are, just like, a continuity from childhood to adulthood. That makes sense. Well, Hermina... No, she's not Willow. Willow found, X98 rifle on the corpse. On a K98 rifle on the corpse of some civilian. It was fully loaded, and he had some extra ammo in his pockets. Oh, hung the rifle. Let's see, did she take a rifle with her? Rifle on her shoulder. Got on the move. Out of there quickly. She had an uneasy feeling. She had an uneasy feeling that danger was going to be moving through that area soon. She compared it to some fear she felt one time on a cruise ship. A suspicion, wrong thankfully, that the ship was going to get sunk by a Ludkin U-boat. Ever hear about those U-boat sinkings? Vicious stuff. I found that some American ship went down by Greenland, transporting 5,000 troops in World War II in 1943. 5,000 soldiers dead. It's not a very famous incident, World War II was, was the kind of thing, lots of casualties, so people were like, it was hard to keep track of the number of people who got killed, you know, because so many people died. So when you have stories, thousands of people dying every day, it's a tragedy where a ship sinks, you know, gets lost in the shuffle, I guess. We'll head back toward Lisa's house, getting a feeling like hundreds of people, like 100 rifles, were aimed her way out those windows, through cracks in windows. Willow changed course for a street to the right. Kate Lisa's street, and headed towards, and found herself in a municipal. Found herself within sight of the police HQ. It was a 3-story modern brick building with steel shutters covering most of the ground floor and second floor windows. There were snipers. There were policemen with sniper rifles aiming from the 3rd floor windows, and a few more men were up on the roof, keeping low as though they feared getting sniped from a higher perch. But there were no higher perches, at least in that part of the city. Was it the tallest building? Let's see. I think she used a K98, but I'm not sure. The K98 was the standard German rifle of World War II. It was a bolt-action rifle, big and heavy. You've probably seen it in many movies, though. If you've watched certain movies, you might think that MP40 was the standard weapon of World War II for the Germans, because it was like... Because you always see them using that submachine gun, you know. In case you don't know what a submachine gun is, it's smaller than a rifle and fires fully automatically, usually. If you don't know what these terms are, you should probably learn them before you start writing any adventure or mystery novels or anything. Not that a lack of knowledge about firearms will impede you much, as long as the story is good. Let's see. The perimeter of the police HQ is a park-like area with a short gray brick fence around it. There's a gray brick. With almost black steel shutters about it on all 4 sides. Bill was relieved that there wasn't some big fence with equally big barred up gates before them. Wrought iron. Right now I have to check the first 2 parts of the story. See equally wrought iron gates before them. Willow. There were no men guarding the exterior of the building, but there were plenty of men at the doors and unshuttered windows. Unshuttered windows. Shutter, so you folks know, shutter, S-H-U-T-T-E-R. That's what you call those things on windows that keep the wind and the rain away from the glass. Shutter is when you, we do a lot of shuttering here in Buffalo during the winter, let me tell you. If I ever travel abroad, I'll try to exaggerate as much as possible about our bad weather. Make it seem like we're living in an Arctic Circle. What is the Arctic Circle anyway? I don't know. I've never, no one's ever explained that term to me. It's not where Santa Claus lives. Let's see. Aiming out. Well, we're soon close enough to see their weapon and identify their weapons. They had quite a few Bloodkin ZP-40 SMGs. Oh, I have no idea where they got them. Avril felt like 100 rifles were being aimed at her earlier. She felt like 1,000 were aimed at her now. And she had no shield. Like Dami had to protect herself. Dami can take a few shots if she has to. She won't just crumple and die if you hit her once. Maybe a few times, I don't know. Sometimes, it seems, it's hit or miss. I always often wonder when you have someone who has superhuman strength or something, if they could be... Let's see. Oh, signing off, folks. Have a nice day.